are y'all doing? Today is Friday, December 1st, and I am back with my stitching update. It's been the usual amount of time since my last one, so if you've all been doing well. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Olivia, and this is my YouTube channel, Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. Today's video is going to be an update video on stitching and quilting, so if that sounds like something you might be interested in seeing or hearing about, I hope you will consider sticking around. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. So how have you guys all been? The past 2 weeks, I feel like a whole month existed in these past 2 weeks. Very productive, which I was super happy about. Probably more, I felt more productive than I have in a long time. The husband and I celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary over these past 2 weeks. We took a night and went over to the Oregon coast, and it was wonderful. No kids, no Freddie, no responsibilities, just two carefree people off enjoying the Oregon coast. It was beautiful. It did rain. There was a storm that came in the evening, and I've never had the chance to experience a storm at the Oregon coast. Usually when we go over, it's just for the day or when we know it's going to be nice. And this is the first time we went over. We knew there was going to be a storm, and it was pretty wild. I've never experienced that before, and just the amount of force of wind that comes off the Pacific is just amazing. We actually watched the sliding glass door of our hotel room sort of bulge and move, and it was really surreal, but we had a great time. We went out, we had a lovely dinner in Depot Bay, and it was just really good to get away. And then I came home and began all the responsibilities again, but I feel like these past 2 weeks have been really productive. We also celebrated Thanksgiving over the past 2 weeks, and it was very lovely. My grandma came over. We had all of the traditional dishes, and it was really good. It was nice to have that time with her. I also, for the first time, made what is traditionally our sweet potato casserole. Most sweet potato casseroles have marshmallows on top. Ours does not. Ours has brown sugar, cinnamon, walnuts, and it's very delicious. It's kind of like its own little dessert at the dinner table. But I made it for the very first time. It turned out great, exactly as I remember. My grandma used to make it, and in the past couple of years, she's kind of taken a step back from making all of those types of dishes. So now the next generation takes over. But I was very happy that it turned out good. I was worried about it. Thought maybe there was a special ingredient she put in there that I don't know about, but it was really good. It was a good Thanksgiving, and I'm very happy that, you know, we got to spend time with my grandma. And then the day after Thanksgiving, I put everything away and I got out Christmas. And as you can probably tell from behind me, this room here is the most decorated, and this area here is the most decorated. I don't, you know, since the kids are now, I mean, I have one that's an adult, one that will be an adult in a couple of months, and I don't decorate like I used to. I've definitely scaled way back. I used to decorate every nook and cranny, which the kids loved, but drove me crazy by the time Christmas came around. And I find that I'm at a point in my life where I just don't like the clutter of everything. So I definitely scaled way back, got rid of a lot of stuff, and I've begun changing my decor to more fit my aesthetic, which is primitive, vintage. So I feel like this year, definitely everything around the house is my aesthetic, and I absolutely love it. Something new that I did this year is I've always had a vintage Christmas tree. It was a 3-foot tall tree, and it had my grandma's Christmas ornaments on it. And in the past couple of years, I've been slowly collecting vintage ornaments. So it outgrew that tree. So this is the first year that it's on the pencil tree. And I absolutely love seeing all of the vintage ornaments that my grandma gave me, and then those that I've been collecting. I love that it sort of outgrew that little tree and is now out in this room. And I just really love the tree with my quilt. Just everything looks so great with the stitching. I just love it all. Okay, so enough chit chat, right? You guys are here for the stitching or the quilting, so let's get to it. The last project that I did for the month of November was Jack's Bash by Plum Street Sampler. So I am stitching this with Katie of So Tattered. We work on it on the 13th or the 31st / last day of the month. So November only had 30 days. So on the 30th, I worked on Jack's Bash. So last night I was able to finish filling in the house, and all I did was carry down the side border here and the bottom border across that segment. We were watching something last night. I don't even remember what it is. All I remember was I kept paying attention to it and not my stitching. I don't even know what we were watching. Anyway. So I was able to get that little bit done, and I absolutely love working on this project. It is so fun. I love the colors, and I always look forward to working on Jack's Bash. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 36 count grandma slip by XJUDesigns, and I'm stitching it with the called for threads. And I just love it. Love it, love it. So really excited to get back to this one on the 13th of December. The way I have everything laid out today, I'm sort of working backwards instead of forward through the 2 weeks. So after I finished all of the assignments the assignment projects that I'm working on with a group of friends, I decided to pick up and begin working back on Christmas at Hollyberry Farms by Stacy Nash Primitive. So I started this one shortly after I completed Halloween at Hollyberry Farms. Haven't worked on it for probably a month. So I definitely wanted to spend a little time working on this one. So I continued working on the border. I only spent I spent 2 evenings on this one. So I worked on the border, and then I jumped up because it was getting close to 11 o'clock when I finished the bottom border area that you see, and that is on like page 1. It must be like page 2 or 3, and I didn't want to take it out of the Q-snap and reposition it just to, stitch another holly leaf. So instead I decided to jump up and work on the fencing that is underneath the house. However, when I pick this up again, I will continue working on the border, and the plan is to complete the border before I jump in and start working on anything else, except the fence. As I'm going along, I'll probably complete the fence. So really love this one, love the colors, love everything about it. I cannot wait to get back to this. I hope that I will be able to stitch on it again in December, because I would like to get it done by Christmas of next year. So I am stitching Christmas at Hollyberry Farms on a piece of 36 count Hogsbristle by Fox and Rabbit, and I am using the called for threads. My next project was a new start, and this is one that I'm stitching with a group of friends. Before I did today's video, and even last time I did a video, I promised myself I was going to go in and try to figure out who's stitching some of these assignment projects with me, and I meant to do that and I did not. So I'm hoping that I will be able to figure it out before my next video, because all assignments reset again and there will be new assignments assigned and all the things. So this project here was one that I started on Thanksgiving Day, which is the first time I've ever been able to start a holiday stitch. A lot of times, people will have a Thanksgiving start, a Christmas Day start, and I've never been able to participate and do that because I'm always, busy doing other stuff, and then by the time I go to bed, I'm just exhausted. So this year was actually the very first time I was able to participate and start on the assigned day. It comes out of the book Hello Autumn by Teresa Kogut, and we are stitching Folksy Thomas. So this is the progress I made, and this was the assignment that Christine assigned us. And we already know what they are ahead of time. She sent us the options a couple of weeks before we started this. So far, doing the 12-month assignment, it went pretty quickly. So I was very pleased. I think I worked on this for a night and a half. and really love the progress. I'm really excited to see this one finished next year, hopefully. But I love it. So beautiful. The colors of this particular one are just all of my favorite autumn colors. So I'm stitching Folksy Thomas on a piece of 36 count parchment by Weeks Dye Works, and I am using the called for threads, which is a mixture of DMC and over dyed threads, and I'm stitching it 1/2, and I love it. Really, really love it. Very, very pleased with this one. The next project that I worked on comes out of the Casting a Spell booklet, and I stitched block number 2, which is this one right here. However, at the beginning of the month, I told my friend Yvette that we would be stitching this one. I forgot which one I had said, so I stitched the wrong one. So next month we'll switch, and I'll stitch this one and she'll stitch this one. But here is my progress so far. So I am stitching this on a piece of 30 count Confederate Grey, although I think it is now called Gray by Weeks Dye Works. And I am stitching this with the called for threads, and I'm stitching at 2/2. So this is the progress I've made so far. I'm hoping that I've spaced them out far enough, but not too far, that by the time I'm done, they'll all fit on the piece of linen without me having to go buy any more. So working on the Halloween block was very nice. It didn't take very long. I think it took me an evening and a half, so that was very, very nice. And I am looking forward to getting back to it this month. And then I returned to The Shores of Hawthorne Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. So I am stitching this with a big group of friends. And much like Houses of Hawthorne Hollow, each block is being split up into 4 segments. So I have 2 out of the 4 segments completed. And here is my progress. So I really love how all of the colors look on the linen, which is a 40 count ale by Picture This Plus. And this block has been a lot of fun to stitch. I was able to get all of the DMC threads before I picked it up again and started working on it because I was missing some of them. But even having all of the threads together on a ring, they're all beautiful. And I didn't even think about bringing them out here today, but I probably should have. But all of the threads are just gorgeous together. So really enjoyed my time on Shores of Hawthorne Hollow, and I cannot wait to get back to it, which I believe is in January. My last project is Houses of Hawthorne Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. So this is one that we started at the beginning of the year. We are currently working on block number 3. Each block has been split up into 3 segments, and we finished 3 out of the 4 segments. So this month, at the end of the month, we will have 3 completed blocks. So here is the progress I have so far. So the assignment had been to do the bottom story, and then I think these 2 windows here, and then leaving this one for this month, and then the roof. But I actually decided to do the bottom portion of the house. The only thing I didn't do is there's some bricks on the side that I need to fill in, so I figured I would do that when I stitch the roof. But love working on this one. I can't believe the year's almost over. I mean, I remember picking this up and starting this in January and thinking that the end of the year seemed so far away, and here we are, the last month of the year, and at the end of this month we'll have 3 full blocks completed, and I just really love working on this one. It's so fun. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 40 count Heritage by Picture This Plus, and I am using a variety of DMC threads, and I'm stitching it 1/2. But I love it, love it, love it. So I decided yesterday that I needed to take a little bit of time and fully finish something that I've had waiting for a little while. I think this one, I might have finished it late summer, very early fall. And it is this one here. So this is Merry Christmas Sleigh, 1897 Pin Keep by Country Rustic Primitives. So last night after I had finished working on, well, actually, I decided yesterday to kind of take the day off from doing any, I've been working on primitive goods for the Etsy shop, the snowman, the candy cane, all of that. for the past 2 weeks. And I just decided I wanted to take the day off and just have some fun. So I did some quilting. And then I decided when I was done with the quilt that I had started that I was going to fully finish one thing. And I had 2 projects to pick from. And I decided to do this one because I did not need to have a frame cut down for it. Finished very, very fast, which I was very pleased. So what I did was I took a piece of mat board, 2 pieces of batting, and I laced it. And then the frame I picked up earlier in the year, late last year at the Goodwill. It was a perfect fit. Absolutely love it. I decided not to change the frame color. I left it, it's kind of all dinged up, scraped up, and I just decided to leave it because I feel like it really fits in with my, the rusty crusty that I love. So I stitched Merry Christmas Sleigh 1897 pin keep on a piece of 36 count Legacy by Picture This Plus, and I did use DMC threads, and I believe they were the DMC that was charted. This particular chart is available as a PDF download in Country Rustic Primitives Etsy shop, and I'll make sure to put a link to it down below. But from what I remember on stitching it, it went really, really quick. So it was very, very fun to work on. Haven't decided yet where I'm going to display it, but I did have it propped up behind me for today's video. But love it. Very, very happy with the finish on it. So in my last video, I did have a giveaway, and as always, thank you to everybody who played along. The question that I had asked was, what is your favorite Christmas movie? And I have been reading through everyone's comments, and it's always so fun. It's always really neat to see that so many of us like the same types of movies. A lot of you liked Christmas Vacation, which was my favorite movie, but also White Christmas, Miracle on 34th Street, the Santa Claus movies, White Christmas. I could just go on, and they're all movies that, A Wonderful Life. So they're all movies that, we do watch throughout December. So it's really neat to see how, even though we live all across the world, we all like the same types of movies. So that was really cool. And yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I 100% believe that, and I do watch it. So the winner of the mystery bag of Christmas charts is Laura Milloway 8674. So again, it's Laura Milloway 8674, and that is your YouTube handle. So congratulations. If you can get a hold of me via email, I'll put my contact information down below in the description box. Send me your address. I will get your mystery Christmas cross stitch package out in the mail to you. And as always, thank you so very much for playing along. Today's video also has a giveaway, and what you will need to do to be eligible to win the prize is be a subscriber, like the video, and answer the question down below. Today's prize is, and I think this is the first time I've ever done this, is a Christmas quilt. Let me show it. So this is what it looks like. So this is a wall hanging, and I think it's called Have Yourself a Quilty Little Christmas. So I made this one, I think back in 2013 or 2014. And I remember that Lori Holt had come out with a book. I want to say it was Quilty Fun. And some of the blocks are out of that. So you needed the book to participate, but then she had taken some of the blocks and she had revamped them to be Christmassy. And I remember participating with a whole bunch of people. It was so much fun. I didn't finish mine before Christmas. I finished it a little bit after. But it was a lot of fun to make. And although it was a lot of fun to make, it never really felt like it belonged to me. I always felt like it needed to go to someone else. And I never could figure out who that person would be. And then yesterday I got to thinking about the quilt again because I didn't have it out again this year. Got to thinking about it and realized that it belongs to one of you. So if you are interested in winning the Have Yourself a Quilty Little Christmas Quilt that I made, so if you do win it, I hope you will love it and be really nice. It's always, when you send your quilt out into the world, you never know what, somebody will think about it. But if you are interested in winning the quilt, what you will need to do is answer this question. What is your favorite Christmas song? So my favorite Christmas song is Silver Bells by Dean Martin. And I actually really like Dean Martin. I've pretty much watched every movie he's been in. I think my favorite movies that he ever was in was a Cannonball. I think he was either in the first or the second one with Sammy Davis. He was in both because him and Sammy Davis Jr. are in both of them. And I just liked that duo together. They were just really funny to watch. But I like Dean Martin and I like Silver Bells. When I was younger, I used to think he was drunk when he was singing it. But I like it. It always makes me think of Christmas. There's a lot of other songs that I love as well, but that one is probably my number one. So if you're interested in winning the Have Yourself a Quilty Little Christmas Quilt, answer what your favorite Christmas song is down below. And in my next video, I will pick a winner. And as always, thank you so very much for playing along. So before we segue into quilt talk, I did receive a package from the Fat Quarter Shop of new items that are available now on the Fat Quarter Shop's website, and I will put a link to their website down below. The first one is a quilt pattern called 2x2 by It's So Emma. This one would be a perfect baby quilt. Next one is a quilt pattern called Dewdrops, also by It's So Emma. Very, very fun. Another quilt pattern called Do-si-do. That's how I interpret it, but it looks like do-si-do. Do-si-do. I'm going to say do-si-do, but I want to say it's do-si-do, but that's probably completely wrong. But this is what it looks like. It is also a quilt pattern by It's So Emma. I really like this one. It says that you can use, is it fat quarters? Yes, so it's fat, we use so it's fat quarter for a small quilt. It's fat quarter friendly. Very cool. A cross stitch chart by Lori Holt, Being My Bonnet. It's called Pearl from the Chicken Club. Very, very cute. Millie's Dresses by Lori Holt, Being My Bonnet. Super cute. Stackables November by the Fat Quarter Shop. So again, thank you so much to the Fat Quarter Shop for sending those items my way. And I will put a link to the Fat Quarter Shop's website down below. Well, friends, as far as all of the cross stitching goes, that is all I have to show and share in today's video. I am going to talk about quilting next, so if that's not something you're interested in, this is a great stopping off point, and thank you so very much for stopping by today. Hope you have a great 2 weeks, but now, quilts. All right, so let's talk about quilts, and we'll start with the one that is hanging up behind me. So I made this one last December, I think it was. And I've been trying to make at least one Christmas quilt a year, if not two. And this was the one that I decided to make last year. It is called Christmas Turkey by Temecula Quilt Company. It is no longer available. I had a couple of people last year send me a message and let me know that it was actually a kit that she had put out. And that's how I received it from a friend and then put it together. So that's how I got a hold of it. But it was a limited edition kit that Temecula had put out years before. I really loved making it. I love all of the colors. You've got pink and greens and reds and yellows. And so it's very, I feel like it's very non-traditional. but at the same time, it definitely works with traditional fabrics and decor, and I really like it. I think it looks great. It looks great next to the vintage Christmas tree, and just it looks great with all of this. So I really love it. And I also realized that I definitely need to, throughout the year, try to insert at least one or two Christmas quilts, so I can kind of build up my Christmas quilt stash, because everything I have is just really bright, and I'll probably ask the kids what they want before I, might sell them. But definitely loved making the quilt. It's so pretty. I love walking into the room and just seeing it with the Christmas trees and just everything. It's just such a pretty quilt. I love it. So Christmas Turkey, Temecula Quilt Company. I'm guessing since it was a limited edition kit, maybe you could find it on the secondary market, but I don't know. I haven't even attempted to do any sort of search. However, this type of block is pretty common. The corner blocks in some books, they're called bear paw quilt or bear paw blocks. So you could probably find something very, very similar and, make one. So last weekend, after I got done putting up all of the Christmas decor, and especially after I finished hanging the quilt that's behind me, I realized that once again I was going to have no quilting to show or talk about in today's video. And I've known from like the last couple of videos, there's been some people who've been very disappointed in me because I have not been able to produce quilts, to which I explained I've just been very busy. But at last, they're still very disappointed in me. So I decided that I wanted to try to find something that I could get done. It had to be fabric I already had, and it had to be something very simple. And I thought about all of the different blocks that I could make that were easy and simple. And originally I had thought, well, maybe I could make a 4-patch quilt or a 9-patch quilt. And I had a jelly roll of Joyful Gatherings by Primitive Gatherings. And I cannot remember why I bought the fabric. I remember buying it in the summer. I think I was supposed to do something with somebody, but I just don't remember. And so I decided to use that because it was fabric I already had, and I didn't want to have to buy anything. I basically just wanted to take something, cut it out, and make it into a quilt. So I went on Pinterest to get kind of some ideas of a quilt that I could make using a 4-patch or a 9-patch. And I came across this one quilt, and if I think about it, I will insert a picture of it because there's no pattern and you don't really need one. And that is a 16-patch quilt. So basically it's taking 4 patches, sewing them together, and you make a 16-patch block. And I decided that would be perfect. It would be a great way to use the jelly roll that I had purchased and just start sewing. So that is what I did. And here is the quilt. So it's very simple, definitely beginner friendly, but this is what it looks like. So when I started off, I started doing where I had, so the whole fabric line is very traditional Christmas colors, reds and greens and white. So I started off putting, the 2 colors together, whether it was green or red. And then I got to looking at the photo of the quilt, and it had patches in there that were, 2 colors together, one darker than the other one. So, you'd have like your low volume and then you'd have the color, even though it's not low volume, and I know it's not low volume. But basically taking some of those blocks and putting them together, sort of to give your eye, so when you're looking at the whole quilt, it gives your eye a place to go to. So that is what I did. And I really do like it. I think it turned out great. Originally, I wasn't so sure, but I love simple quilts. I think that they look so beautiful. I made it to be used, so it will be a lap quilt, or I also thought about putting it on the quilt crane that is in the other room. But I love how it turned out. I did not use the whole jelly roll. I started by cutting the jelly roll in half. I took those pieces of fabric and I sewed them together, and then I cut them. So if this was a long strip, I cut it 2.5 inches all the way down the length of the strip, flipped them, sewed them back together so I got the 4 patch, and then sewed those together until I got the 16 patch. So I like how it turned out. I think it looks great. It's traditional colors, definitely my aesthetic. I really like it. I'm happy that I have one Christmas quilt done, although there is another one that I want to try to get done before Christmas, so we'll see how that goes. But I do really like the simple quilts. I'm hoping that I will have backing in my stash that I can go and throw it on the quilt machine next week and quilt it. And that way I can have it out and enjoy it before I have to put it away. But it was really fun to work on. I did it in the evenings after I'd finished working on my primitive goods for the Etsy shop. So it was just nice to have that little bit of time for myself. So it took me 3 evenings to complete. And then I worked on it yesterday until I was finished. And then I just kind of worked on some stuff for today's video. I just took a little bit of time for myself. Anyway, really loved working on it. If I can find a pattern, I will link it, but I was on Pinterest and I saw the photo of the other quilt. I don't think it was a pattern. I think it was just a photo somebody took and put on Pinterest, but definitely very beginner friendly. I did not use a pattern. I just used a jelly roll and I just made 4 patches. And I mean, you could have fun and just do all sorts of stuff with the jelly roll. And so this is what I decided to do. Have some of it left over. I think I might set it aside and see if she comes out with a Christmas line next year, because a lot of times her Christmas, you can put them together. She's kind of like Joe Morton, where she'll create a line of fabric, but you can take past lines and sort of put them together and it looks fabulous. So I'm going to set those aside and then see what she comes out with next year. And then, you know, if it does sort of match, then I might, you know, get that jelly roll and then, you know, do something with the leftover bits. Well, my friends, as far as everything goes, that is all I have to show and share in today's video. If you've stuck around for this length of time, thank you so very much. If you would like to see what I'm up to in between my videos, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, or I do have a Facebook page called Pumpkin Hollow Quilting. Everything that I have shared and shown in today's video will be listed down in the description box if you are at all curious. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below and I will either answer them directly or answer them in my next video. The plan for me will be to be back in 2 weeks, so I hope you have a great start to your December, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.